Hala, my screen is shared.
We started the live.
Okay. Welcome, parents, and we're happy to see you again. It's been, I feel that it's been a while, but actually it hasn't. We would like to welcome you for another live session. And today we are going to discuss launching the PYP blended model. So we were doing the virtual learning model until now. And now that we were given the green light from the ministry to start the blended model, we are truly excited. As nervous as we are, let's say, we are excited to welcome our students back on campus. We are preparing the campus, preparing our curriculum, our schedule, timetables, but also all the safety procedures that are put in place, the additional ones, to ensure that your children are safe when at school. For tonight's session, I have with me Ms. our PYP coordinator, Ms. Linda Gauss, our early use head, and Ms. Rawan Adawi, our tech support and ICT teacher. You can use, the session is actually it's not a presentation. It's more about, I'm going to quickly tell you what the model, in case you did not read the letter, because I know it was long, so I did not expect everyone to read it. That's why we gave the option of the webinar. So I'm going to go over the different points, and then I will be answering your questions. So if you have a question to ask, please make sure you post it in the Q&A box. My colleagues will be looking and reading the questions so we can answer them. Unless there are questions that are more on the private side, so it's really particular to certain families, then we will be answering them right away in the chat box. I'm going to share my screen right now, and I will just put the letters that I sent. So basically, with the letter you had, we gave a lot of thinking before we do the blended model, because honestly, there are a lot of models out there if we look worldwide, and we have attended many webinars to see what's happening, not only in Lebanon, but what's happening in countries that opened before us and maybe had some success stories till now. And we look at the different options, and there were models that were switching groups between morning and afternoon. So there are 2 shifts in the day. There were models where you're rotating days. There are models that rotate every week. Now, when we looked at advantage and disadvantages of each, we found that if we want to balance between safety and academic, the week basis rotation works the best for us, because when we rotate by week, that means our teachers and our students are not exposed to 2 groups of people within the same week, and at the same time they are getting a full experience of what our somehow a normal school days looks like. Yes, I know that some of you will be concerned about the little ones getting used to the routine, and that's normal, but I would say at this point we need to do the best that we can. We know that whatever formula we put out there, it's not going to be perfect. We know this. However, we want to ensure that we are balancing between safety, between academics, and between the social, emotional of our little ones. So we're going to be coming. The good news is, when I first shared my letter, I said that grade 3 to grade 5 will come only 2 days. And honestly, we were worried about this choice, but we were out of ideas on how to spread them in a way, and we still have enough rooms to have everyone at this point. We got a solution, so we are going to have everyone on campus. However, the start date is going to be very scattered. We wanted to ensure that we are teaching the routine slowly, not only for our students, for our teachers, for our staff, for our helpers, for everyone on campus, as much as possible, to be able to lower the risk of the spread of COVID-19. So basically, how they're going to be split between Group A and Group B. We are going almost with the same split than the virtual learning. So the first group will have the families from A to G. So if your family name starts from A to G, you will be in Group A. And the families H to Z will be Group B. If you are, your family name start with Al, because I know a lot of Lebanese families, for example, Al Mukhtar or Al Dayeh, or if you have family names that start with Al, it's counted as NE, because I had this question many times, so it's counted as NE. Now, here I need to tell you something that we in virtual learning, we were able to cater bigger groups. Here we might have to call you and say, please, we truly need you to move to another group. And we will try to ask people who do not have many children at Wellspring, because it will not affect the schedules between the MYP-DP campus and our campus. So if you don't have if you have only one child and we feel that the groups are not balanced, we might ask you to switch groups from week A to week B. And I hope you can cooperate with us, because we cannot have we need to respect social distancing. So for nursery, we are not putting at this point more than 7 students in one room with the teacher. In KG1 and KG2, 9 students per group. And grade 1 to grade 5, it's 12 students per group. We are not at full capacity yet, so I don't believe we will have that, but we cannot exceed this number, because if we look at our classes and we will look at our numbers, we try to really look at the rooms and see what does social distancing looks like in our context. So although sometimes it says 50%, for us, we felt that for our little ones, particularly at the beginning, as our teachers are getting used to these routines, as our students are learning to these new routines, so we wanted to lower the number to give more individualized attention to everyone. That's for the grouping. From October 5 to October 16 are more of our adaptation weeks, and the day will start at 7:30 but will end at 12, and this will affect KG1, nursery, and probably KG2, one group of KG2. After October 16, our days will start at 7:30 and will end at 1:30 for all grade levels, from nursery to grade 5. We will not have longer days during that time, because we cannot have our children and our teachers wear masks for longer time. So this is already 5 hours. Students under the age of 6 will not have to wear masks, but students above the age of 6 will have to wear their masks. Teachers will have to wear the mask all the time. So we were trying also to balance it out, because I'm sure it's not going to be easy at the beginning. Now, if we feel at some point that a certain grade level is gaining the habits, they're fine, we might be able to make the day longer, but at this point, for the safety of everyone and the comfort and the well-being of everyone, we need to stick to the 1:30 schedule. For LD and ESL students, if your child is in the ESL department or the LD Learning Diversity department, they might be asked to come to school before their classes, because we want to provide them with a pull-out session on campus. We believe since we can do it right now, we have the green light from the ministry, it's good to have the contact with a teacher, building relationships, all this. Of course, it is optional at this point, but we want to give you this opportunity, and you will coordinate with the teacher or the LD coordinator to decide whether you would like to take advantage of this offer or not. So if we can see, we are still working on the timetable, so they will be ready where you usually see them on the PYP community website, where we usually put all our tables. I know timetables. I know some of you have been here to check this week the new timetable, so you just go here. So if you open our website, you scroll down timetables and you click here, it will take you to the folders that have, it will have a folders that have virtual and then blended, and hopefully very soon we will have the face-to-face model. So if you can see here, there are different start dates. They are very scattered, and it depends. Those you have access to them, and I can, if you would like, Rawan, if may I ask you if you can just post this link for the VisMe on the Q&A, on the chat for everyone to see, so they can, if they need to access it again. I have sent it already, but it's good to have to keep it somewhere where you have access to it all the time, because I'm sure you're not going to memorize the date. Now you're going to see different dates, very weird dates. Please bear with us. We are really trying to think of different aspects before we bring a new group to campus. So those dates, we changed them today because we changed them, we corrected them actually, because apparently there was a mistake where group A in nursery, for example, will not come in the same week as group A in grade 3. we want to ensure, as we are putting it here, we want to ensure that at a certain period of time when everyone is back to school, your children will coming from the same family, they will be coming to the same week, they will come to school together, or they will stay at home together. Now, I know that some of you prefer otherwise. You can approach us and ask us. However, if the groups are already full, we will not be able to accommodate that need, unfortunately, because really here we cannot be in the virtual. We are a little bit more flexible, but in the blended students obviously are on campus. Social distancing is very important to us. We will not be able to put more students in one room than the numbers that I mentioned before. Concerning the health and the safety procedures, I shared with you many documents included in this letter. One of them, I'm not going to go into the details of here, I will let you read them on your own, but one of them will explain what happens if a case of COVID-19 happens on our campus. So God forbid we have a case in our community, whether it's a staff or a student, what are the different steps that we will follow? Basically, a medical report is needed. Now we know that a lot of people will have the flu and this might be confusing. Is it COVID-19? Is it the flu? So that's why we are not asking every time for a PCR, unless we are asking for a doctor's report. So the doctor will decide, and we trust our doctors to tell us, are those the signs of a COVID-19? A PCR is needed. If the person has done a PCR, it will be great to give us a PCR. But usually if the doctor report clears them from COVID-19, they can, once the symptoms are gone, they can come back to campus. Now, as I think Ms. Battah, the head of school, sent her letter today, and also we're talking about the temperature above 37.5. I'm not sure if it's, I think it's 37.5 or higher. The person will not be allowed on campus. I hope you cooperate with us. I'm sure you will. I've seen, honestly, I always say, I cannot ask for a better parent community to work with, because you've been so supportive, you've been so involved with us, so thank you. But we cannot allow you on campus, even though you might say it's something minor, because we want as much as possible to keep the school open. And if we have a case, we're trying to trace as much as possible, but we have staff that will be circulating among different classes, among different sections. Our specialists will be going from one room to another, of course, with all the safety measure, but still. So we want to ensure that we stay open and we don't close classes or the school as much as possible. Then in my letter also, there is a letter from the PYP nurse to you. So if you would like to read it, and that tells exactly about the safety measures. I'm not going to read it now, but you can access it. And then you also have, I think, yes, you should have, just a minute. Okay, I sent you the guidelines that we gave our teachers. So because I felt that it's important for you, and it's your right to know what instructions are we giving to our teachers when they are on campus. Definitely, I will not read it, but definitely most of it, they need to wear the mask all the time. The early years, we're looking into the face shield, not for the children, more for the teachers themselves, but we're trying to see also how to keep it kids friendly, because, you know, we want to be safe, but we don't want to scare them. We want to be keep ourselves safe, but at the same time, we want our emotional and social well-being to be okay as well. Because if we're not opening just to send them to school or for the academics or the math or whatever, because those we can do somehow online. We are opening for this aspect, for the social emotional aspect mostly. So we need to really balance at all times between the well-being, the physical well-being, and the social emotional well-being, which I cannot claim and say it's very easy. No, it's not. It's challenging, but we are ready for the challenge, and we are here to support each other. I believe we have a great team of teachers, of staff, of leaders who are really, and of parents, I would say on top of it, who are really working together to ensure we can do the best out of this situation. So basically, this is all I have to share, but I would like to take questions if possible.
Yes, Ms. Maha. A lot of questions about what happens if I decide not to send my kids home. Are there going to be cameras inside the class for those who decide to keep their kids at home? Is it going to be the same teacher teaching if they're at home? Do we have the option for full online? I'm just going to read them because they are all related to the same topic. So if you can clarify or more. Will they have the same homeroom teacher? And okay.
So that's,
this is for the people who
yeah, if I can answer those before, because I will forget. Those are very good questions. For the homeroom teachers from grade 1 to grade 5, yes, you will. It's only KG2 for now that we had to use our another person to handle group 4, which is as qualified as our teacher, so I will not be worried. She's working closely. It's Miss Noor Saeed, so she's been working closely with the team, and she's ready. Honestly, she has all her qualification to be a classroom teacher. We just did not have an opening for her for this year, so I'm not worried at all for this, because we want to split KG2 into 4 groups instead of 3 groups to have the 9 students in the classroom. Honestly, if I were a parent, I'd be happy for this, because this is, if I want to look at the positive side of this period, it's allowing us to have smaller ratios in our classes, so it's just nice to have. For KG1, we will have 4, but we already have 4 teachers. We actually have 5 teachers in KG1, so we will be fine. In nursery, we will have 2 groups, and we have the 2 teachers. For grade 1 and to grade 5, it's the same. It's only KG2 who will be affected somehow in splitting the groups again, but we think it's worth it, because we don't want to put KG2 students, 12 students in one room. Even 3 extra students will be, in my opinion, at this point, a lot to add to one room. Concerning the streaming, yes, so many of you took the first surveys that we sent about the virtual learning. In my letter, you had a place where you click and to enter the name of your child. If you're asking, I think that was in my email, to include the name of your child if they want to stay virtual. So far, we have 48 responses. From the number we're seeing so far, we cannot make a section, because before I was telling you that if there's enough numbers, we will do a virtual class section and then 2 blended or whatever. We do not have enough to do 1 full section, but that's totally fine, because we will be streaming. Yes, we will not be streaming every classroom, though. We picked different teachers to be streaming from their classes, mainly because honestly, the internet in the country does not support a lot of streaming at the same time from one campus. So we really picked from each grade level one teacher for each subject to be able to, she will have a camera in her classroom, she will have AirPods in her ears, so the sound should be very clear for the child, and she will be able to move in the classroom without having to worry also about staying in one area. So we found the AirPod to really be a great solution. The other thing that about the streaming is that we're going to try also to have the anchoring teachers have check-in meeting with the students who are at home, and then check with them during the day to see how they're doing when they have their asynchronous learning. So we will do it step by step. Of course, it's a new experience for us and for you, and we know that once we started, we will have to refine and make things better for all of us. But please do communicate with us, talk to us. And I don't want you to think that every time you're going to tell us something, we're going to change it, as I tell my teachers as well. Because what we try to do, we try to take all data, think about it, see, is it making sense from different areas, from different perspectives, and then we try to make more informed decisions, particularly now that we don't have more data to rely on, because even the schools that we can learn from are only maybe a few months ahead of us in terms of the implementation of these programs. And the streaming is not very common. I believe it should be good, but we need to try it and see how we can, because sometimes even if you sit and think of a model, if you do not really try it, you don't know where you really need to improve, or what's something that's really going to cause a problem or will be an advantage for everyone. So please bear with us as usual. We will try to do our best. If the number increase at any point to a point where a section can go virtual, so we can remove a teacher to be virtual and then have 2 other sections on campus, we're ready to do this. But at this point, the number is not that much. So if you know of someone who did not put their names or their children's name, or you did not put your children's name, please go ahead and do so. It's very important. It really will affect our decision. Any other question?
Yes, Ms. Maha. Somebody's asking, can the children wear face shields?
The face shields are not recommended, honestly, because for safety measures, because if the child falls on the stairs, falls when they're running, it might actually break and hurt them. So it has not been recommended. Now, if your pediatrician insists because the child has a certain situation, it cannot replace the mask. So if you want to add it, it has to be added on top of the mask. I know that in some cases they have to do it because their immune system is very weak. So we will respect this definitely, but it's very important to talk to your doctor, to your child's doctor, and to get us a report, because it is a hazard for the child, not for other people, but it is for the child themselves. It's like running with when they're holding things in their hands. So just be careful about it. Anything else?
Sorry. Why is school starting early at 7:30? Can it be later on at 8:30? So that's some concern that came up.
I know
up early.
That's going to take students time to go back to routine. But remember that teachers, when they start at 7:30 and finish at 1:30, they still have time for their planning. They still have time to give feedback on the asynchronous learning that is happening with the other group. Our teachers during that time are really dealing with a lot. And I know, like anyone else and everyone else, and I know that maybe in your work environment or at home, you're dealing also with a lot of things to handle during this period. But we want to give them time a little bit in the afternoon that the teachers can plan, can give feedback, because we also expect them to plan a high quality learning engagement, and we are working a lot on the feedback we give to the students who are in the asynchronous learning. No, we did not.
Some people are.
Sorry, go ahead.
Some people are asking for them what will happen in asynchronous weeks and about the anchoring teacher. So if you would like to clarify that.
So you'll definitely have more information as we start, but basically the asynchronous week, students will have asynchronous assignments to be doing on their own pace. But what we want from the anchoring teacher, we want to basically start the day with the student as if they were in regular class. So have a morning meeting, maybe not with the section, but with a grade level, just to somehow go over the day with them. So tell them what they have to do, what's happening. They will be on call, so the child will know that they can call this person in case they need help during the day with their assignment, and they will be provided intervention, guided reading, writing, conferencing as needed. So those also we are in the process of planning them. Now the questions about the 48 students only, the virtual learning option will never drop because we have promised our families that we continue doing it. But as I said at the beginning, before the survey, I said, if we don't have enough to open one live session online, we will do the streaming. So we have two options, whether we do streaming from the classroom or the virtual class online. When we want to have a session like we're doing right now nowadays, we need to have a certain number to have a teacher with that. Now, that does not mean that we will not have an anchoring teachers that will be doing small groups with the students, but it will not be like the regular class that they are having right now.
Yes, Maha, somebody is asking if I send my kids to school and God forbid that someone in my family gets COVID, and can he continue virtual learning during the quarantine, or how will things go?
Definitely. No, definitely they can continue. They will be counted from the group of the virtual learning, so the streaming and the checking on them. We are still thinking about the ways to be able to have also the homeroom teacher somehow check or have this session with the children who are online. We still need time to get there, honestly, because we are still working on the timetables and seeing how things go. But no matter what, whether they are virtual or they are on campus, please trust that the teachers are working together to be able to provide your child with the best education. So it's not because they are virtual that they will be having we will have lower standards or lower expectations from them, not at all, but it's just taking time for us to understand where can we add, how can we add, how will a homeroom teacher check in with students who are at home. So we are still looking into all this. Okay. For the students who have the symptoms, like if they're not able to learn, I don't know if I understand the question right. If they're not able to learn because of fever, that's totally fine. I mean, like when they get sick, other times, if they cannot work, they cannot work, and we try to make it up when they feel better. If they're at home just because they have the symptoms or because they are diagnosed with COVID-19 and asymptomatic, definitely we expect them to work, but they work through the virtual model. So I don't know if I understood the question right, but nursery as attend with okay. So you're asking us about nursery. Nursery, yes, will start on October 5. Parents, we are trying to see how we can have the parents the first day with them outdoors. Unfortunately, we will not be able to have you in the classroom, not for you, not for them. As I said, we want our classes to be as long as possible. We want them open. So we are trying, Ms. Lean actually is trying to organize with the team to have these adaptation sessions at the beginning, so the students are getting used to these adults, to have more sessions outside where you can be with your child. The students in older grades, we are asking parents not to enter campus, and I hope you understand this, unless you really need to do something on campus. As we are telling our teachers, if you do not have classes, please do not come to campus so we can lower exposure.
Ms. Maha, somebody's asking, will you open the playgrounds for their breaks? If you can explain more about the outdoor play or the playgrounds.
Okay. So basically, the equipment and outdoor, we will not open them. But what we will do is that every class will have one area that is allocated for them to play. So during that time, it will be only that class who will be outdoor playing. We will not be able to use the equipment because the equipment will need cleaning and they need time. And even the wooden one, we cannot guarantee that there are no viruses going inside, but they will have definitely their breaks. They will have their snack and lunch. Snack and lunch, they will eat them in the classroom, of course, with social distancing. They remove their mask and they sit on their tables and eat. Outside, we will have different play areas for different sections, so they will not be mixing. Definitely, they will have to stay with the same 9-12 students who they are with no equipment, but I'm sure they're very creative. And we are trying to see some social distancing games that teachers can play with them on the playground.
Ms. Maha, we have a question about what precautions are we taking for sterilizing the tools, rooms, and how often?
So basically, we had a meeting with the teachers and the nurse. We are having a helper for every grade level to ensure that the classes and classrooms are being cleaned throughout the day. The bathrooms will be cleaned every 1 hour, I believe. And then classrooms, the teachers have the nurse has created this substance. I think it's based off Clorox with water. I'm not going to say something that I'm not sure about, but I know that the concentration is very safe for the students to be putting their hands after it. Students will not use these substances. We're not allowed to have them, but we definitely want to train them on learning how to clean after them, clean before they sit and eat. Even if we know it's clean and only the child sat there, we want to ensure that they are learning these habits when they are outside. So when they go anywhere outside, they are aware of this, and they're somehow taking care of themselves on their own. Like we want them to be independent learners, we want them to be independent people who can take care of their safety. We know it will be a long way to get there, but I'm sure it's easier than with us adults. Okay. Yeah, some people are asking about the masks. I know how challenging it is, and we will try to see how we can with children. Adults definitely will not remove their mask. With children, because the risk is lower, we're trying to see as they get settled, if they are sitting in their chair in the classroom and there is social distancing, they will be allowed to wear their mask. Obviously, this will take time because we want to ensure that they're not close to each other without masks. But we will definitely give them a break. A child who's really bothered from the mask, will just ask them to just sit a little bit away and remove their mask. We understand. We're going to take it slowly. We will not torture them, I promise. But at the same time, I know that it's going to have a downside on all of us. But I think we need to do it in a smart and balanced way where we're not really overdoing it, but at the same time, we are not jeopardizing anyone's safety. Any other questions that?
Yes, this is a very good question. Do we have extra masks on campus in case a child lost his mask? So can you please explain or clarify?
Yes, we don't have an extra mask on campus. I know for the little ones it will be great if you send with them. I think we put it already in the, if I'm not mistaken, in the supply list to have an extra mask in the classroom. If you come without a mask in the morning, there is a pharmacy nearby, so you will not have to go home and get it. But it's good to keep. I will say it's good to keep a mask on campus, particularly for the little one. Like we keep the change of clothes because yes, the little ones are not wearing masks actually. But maybe grade 1 and 2. I will think about it with the nurse and see how we can do it to ensure that you have somehow an extra mask kept in a cleaner place for them. To you. So, but I need to talk to Nurse Joyce and see how we can do this. I will, the last question, I will keep it up to you, honestly. Is it worth sending our kids while we're doing a great job? Thank you. It's just that I think it's very different from one family to another, and I'm not in a position to answer nor to judge what the parents decide to do. I just want to say that we are trying our best to keep them safe. But as I say again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you there are no risks at all. Definitely there are, and we are all aware of it. Even when we go to the supermarket, when we go to the restaurants, when we go, daycares have been opening. So I don't know if this is a good thing, but I heard that daycares have been open for a while now. So I believe it will be not easy. If I want to be very honest, it's going to be challenging, but at the same time, as we get used to it, it's going to be become part of our lifestyle. All I ask you to do is, and I asked our teachers to do, is that as parents, we know that everyone is free to do everything they want. When they're not at school, everyone is okay to go anywhere. Of course, we can't even control it, but I ask to think of the choices, because a choice of one community member can affect so many others. So I just asked our teachers, for example, between one restaurant that respects social distancing and other not, just try to pick the one that does the social distancing, so we are lowering the risk for everyone else, because we might not be affected, but others in the community who have different situations might be affected. So it's really a community work. It's not one person work nowadays. More and more, it's more about the effort of all of us. Any other questions? I can't see anything anymore. Did I miss any? Dean?
No, I think
no,
we covered.
I think we answered all of them.
Okay. So I truly would like to thank you for attending. It's nice to see many of you in our webinars. You're not getting bored of us, so that's a good sign. Thank you so much for giving us the time to discuss, to explain. I know that many of you prefer not to have these long emails, and although I will keep sending them, we will definitely, every time there is a big change or a new model, hopefully we will not have planning this year, but if there is something, I promise to have the webinar to be able to support you. Okay, so there's a question about.
Yes, if we decide to keep our kids, no, where was it? Oh, I missed it. Something if they decide to, those who opted for the virtual learning, if they decide to send their kids again later on, are they able to join?
Definitely for now, from virtual to we cannot tell you, if you choose right now, we're not going to be able to change your mind at all. Not at all. We understand your hesitation. We understand the situation you are in, as parents to decide whether should I keep them, should I leave them. I know all the guilt that is going in your mind. Don't worry about it. Just I will ask at some point if we need a week or two to make the switch, just to give us that time. But other than this, definitely it's your right to choose the model that you'd like. Obviously from blended to virtual, you can move right away, but also from blended to virtual, we might need time depending on the numbers to adjust the number of interventions and all these things.
Last question about the bus. Somebody is asking about the bus because I think it wasn't mentioned.
I cannot answer many questions about the bus because Ms. Rana Farouk, so Rana F at wellspring.edu.lb, she's the one in charge of the service. But I can tell you that the bus will start late October. Before that time, parents are expected to make their own arrangements about drop-off and pick-up. Yes, we will have a virtual coffee meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. and then it will continue next Tuesday. So I know you like it more. I can hear you. I also like it more. It's just because when we have bigger number, it's not easy to organize it. But definitely at 10 a.m. we'll have one, and then on Thursday at 10 a.m. we will have our next one, and then Tuesday at 5 p.m. You don't have to sign up your kids to come to school. Your kids by default, they're signed up for the blended. If you want the virtual, this is when I would like to request that you put their names on the list that we send, so we can, in the form, so we can count them as in the virtual program. As I said, as of today, we have around 48 responses. So I would say like 5-6 students in each grade level. So I think this is it for today. Thank you so much again and again for attending. And I will see you, if not before, I will see you on Thursday at 10 a.m. for our coffee mornings. And honestly, I'm starting to really look forward for those times. It's a time for me to just get to know you better and hear you, not just read you. So see you soon. Bye.